First of all, recognize His Excellency Ambassador Lu and representative of the government of the People's Republic of China, and of course, Honorable Reginald Austria, our Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, the Minister for Health, my cabinet colleagues who are present, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, and other permanent secretaries, our friend, the commercial consular and staff of the embassy, the contracting firm, and of course the media. Let me first of all say how pleased I am for the great efforts which the contracting firm has put into the construction of the hospital, and more specifically the first phase of the hospital, recognizing the tremendous challenges which they experienced and all of us experienced after the passage of Hurricane Maria. So the work that has been done has been exceptional in terms of efficiency and also the quality of work. I also want to personally thank, on behalf of the government and myself, the ambassador and the Minister, Commercial Consular, and of course the government of the People's Republic of China for their great friendship and commitment to Dominica. We believe it is a wonderful way to celebrate the 15th anniversary of our diplomatic relations by the handing over of the first phase of the China-Dominica Friendship Hospital. This hospital will certainly impact every single family and every single individual in our country, as health transcends all walks of life and all ages. This we consider to be a major investment in Dominica, a major investment, a long-awaited investment. Clearly, the existing PMH has outlived its usefulness, and with this new hospital, we have no doubt there will be an improvement in the delivery of healthcare services to Dominica. There will be also an increase in the services which we're offering to our citizens, and very likely to our neighboring islands. So we will very well see ourselves in a situation where we move from our citizens going out to now people coming in to seek medical intervention. Because there's one service which we will be providing in this new hospital, which is the non-invasive intervention for cancer and other related illnesses. And I've been advised we may be the second country within the Caribbean region which may have this piece of equipment. I believe it's HIFU equipment. And of course, we'll be training, we'll be getting help from the government of China to train the doctors and to train the technicians on the management of this facility. And we've always said to Dominican citizens that what we'd like to see happen in Dominica is a situation where there will not be the frequent need of our citizens having to fly to other countries in the region to seek medical care. But this could not and cannot be done with the existing facility. And this is why we had made the request of the Chinese government to assist us with the construction of the hospital. Because over time, we have trained people in various disciplines within the medical sciences. And also we have purchased additional and new equipment to provide services to our citizens. And so we have seen really a revolution in the healthcare services over the last 20 years. Where before 2005, we did not have an intensive care unit facility here. Before 2000, we had one partially functioning dialysis machine. Now we have 9, and with this new facility, we'll have 12 beds to provide dialysis treatment to our citizens. And with the MRI that will be coming on board as well within this new hospital, and an increased number of theaters in order for us to be able to treat our citizens, and of course neighboring islands who I'm sure will start coming to Dominica with the construction of the hotels the international airport to come in, the cruise village to come in. With this new hospital, we will lend ourselves, and of course the pristine nature of our country, with all of the natural hot springs and the warmth of our country, we believe we are well placed to attract patients from outer Dominica to seek medical intervention in Dominica. So we look forward to the handover ceremony the end of this month for the first phase of the hospital. I've been advised as a requirement there will be a period between the handing over and the use of it, which will be about 40 days, to ensure that everything is in place and the sanitization of the facility, because after all it is a hospital and it has to be properly sanitized. We have requested and gotten technical assistance from the Pan American Health Organization. And we requested the Pan American Health Organization to come into Dominica and to have an independent, dispassionate review of our health system in Dominica and the delivery of healthcare services and the management of healthcare services in Dominica. We have received that report from PAHO, and the Cabinet has agreed to a number of the recommendations. And one of the recommendations which we have always spoken about publicly in Dominica, and I am happy that PAHO, an external agency, has, without knowing my position on this matter, has endorsed something I've been speaking about. And we will be creating an independent entity. We'll decide what term we call it, but it will be an authority that will be statutory authority with the parliamentary approval to manage the delivery of secondary and tertiary medical services for our citizens. And they will not only be managing the China-Dominica Friendship Hospital, but also the new hospital once it is completed in Marigot, the upgrade of the Grand Bay Hospital, and also the upgrade of the Portsmouth Hospital. So they will be responsible for both tertiary and secondary care. And they will have their own budget approved by the Parliament. So we expect there to be an improvement in the delivery of services, because sometimes to wait to get the approval from the ministry for bandage or paracetamol and so on, that can take a very long time because of the bureaucracy, not blaming anybody, but that's how the bureaucracy works. So that entity will have its own funds. But we will not see, I want to underscore this, we will not see a change in the government's attitude towards the provision of free medical care to our citizens. That will be protected, where every citizen 60 years and older and every citizen 18 years and younger will continue to enjoy free medical care in Dominica, with the hope of ensuring that we have 100% universal coverage of tertiary and secondary care for our citizens. Of course, we have the pilot programs working. We're studying how it's working to see how we can continue to expand it. But today we're here, and I really want to thank the government of China. There are people among us who have poured scorn over the relationship with China and Dominica. But I've always said to Dominicans that our adherence as a government to the One China principle was done in recognition that there is but one China, and also our adherence to international law, because in international law it recognizes the sovereignty of the People's Republic of China over the whole of China, and that there being but one China. And so for many years, for 24 years of our existence, we were in non-conformity with international law. And I feel privileged and humbled to have been the Prime Minister to have recognized that Dominica's economic and social advancement was better placed with a friend called the People's Republic of China. And Ambassador, rest assured that we shall continue to adhere to the One China principle. We consider to be the Chinese government to be an ally of the people of Dominica, and we look forward to the continued strengthening of our relationship. But you know, I'm very pleased for this gift. This is a major investment. we cannot put a true dollar value to this project. Where health is concerned, there's no cost. You know, we all want to maintain good health at whatever cost it is. And the Chinese government has not compromised on any aspect of this project. And I also want to recognize the leadership of Dr. Darrow, the Minister for Health, and all of the staff of the Ministry of Health for their efforts in ensuring the smooth implementation of this project. So I'm very pleased with what I've seen, Ambassador, Commercial Councillor, Contractor. I'm very pleased, but we are excited about the completion of this project because one appreciates the positive impact it will make, even with the first phase. Comparing what we have now to the existing accident and emergency department, the additional facilities that we will have at the hospital to ensure that we can deliver optimum and optimal medical services to our citizens. And in the process, the reviewing of the administration of the hospital, the government will be appointing a chief executive officer who will be responsible for running the hospital because we believe it's unfair to have somebody who's supposed to be in surgery, performing surgeries on a patient to be running around managing a hospital. The doctor's responsibility really is to treat patients and not to treat a hospital, and we are wanting them to focus exclusively on delivery of medical services and not be burdened with administrative issues. Because I always feel uncomfortable when I have to invite staff from the hospital and then I have medical doctors who really should be looking at patients in a meeting with the most lowly citizen of our country, myself, when they have other important things to do. So I am very excited about this project and we look forward to its completion. So healthcare in Dominica is a very exciting juncture in the history of our country. We have more specialists in our country than ever before, and the important thing that 98% of them are Dominican citizens, young Dominicans. And my hope and prayer is that they can look to making a very commendable contribution to the delivery of medical services. And with the administration structure which will play, the governance structure which we will put into the hospital, with the administrative structure, we've continue to ensuring that we have that the hospitals continue to be fully financially resourced. With the construction of a number of health centers in the next 2 weeks or so, we will be announcing, as I've indicated publicly, we'll be signing contracts to build about 10 new health centers across Dominica to allow for an improvement of the medical services and type 3 clinics. And also, we will be transforming some of the existing facilities into polyclinics to ensure that there are diagnostic services at this hospital, that we address the issue of primary health care and ensure that at the primary health care level we can provide the kind of care that people require so that they do not have the need to come to a secondary and tertiary institution for care. So we're seeing revolutionary changes, improvements in the healthcare, and I believe Dominicans should be very excited about this. And we're not doing, this is not about talking about something, but things that are happening, before our very eyes. And so oftentimes people criticize the healthcare services, but I am satisfied that in Dominica we are doing a fantastic job. With everything we can do better. Everything we can do better. But sometimes people criticize because they have not gone out to Dominica and to experience what other countries are offering and the limitations which they have in their own delivery of services, even in developed countries. But what we have been able to do in a small country is phenomenal. And finally, we have to point to the seriousness of this government and the kind of leadership that we are providing. Hurricane Maria hit us. No access to potable water. Poor housing condition because all our homes were affected. But there was not an outbreak of any diseases in our country. I ask Dominicans who are listening to me, when they criticize this government for its management of the healthcare services, give me one country in the world that has been impacted by a natural disaster like Dominica, and where there was not an outbreak of some kind of disease? Do your research and tell me publicly which country. I am not here to name countries because it's not in my position to do. But what we did with the help of our partners and our local staff under trying circumstances is something that every single citizen should tap himself or herself on the shoulder and say, well done, good and faithful servant. And these are some of the positive things that we talk about the country. Not only about focusing on negatives. Here we have the Chinese government helping us. This country has its own challenges. Yes, it might be the second largest economy in the world, but it has its own challenges. But yet still they're here investing in excess of 45 million US dollars in our economy, in our healthcare system. Because this equipment that they put in, they're not cheap equipment. This is why countries cannot afford them in the Caribbean. They're not cheap to buy and they're not cheap to maintain. And to have a situation where in Dominica, will be the second. We're trying to find out whether we're the only, but I will save the second for the time being, until I'm corrected. We're the second country in the Caribbean that's going to have the HIFU medical equipment, so that persons who are ill, we don't have to put in, on the table and cut you up and suture you and so on. That we can go in there and separate the hormones and treat you, and so you can go home the same day. That is a revolutionary step in the delivery of healthcare services. And those who can better it, tell me how you're going to better this. Tell me what you're offering. It's easy to criticize, and what are you going to say? You will put 2, you'll put 3, I mean, so tell me what's the offering. And so, I will always be eternally grateful to the government of China, because China, the People's Republic of China, has been true friends of the people of Dominica. At no time has the Chinese government made a promise to us that they have not kept. They have kept every single promise to the people of Dominica. And we, every Dominican, must be grateful to them. And we must condemn, and we must stand in defense of our Chinese friends. When we hear countries and leaders of other countries criticizing the presence of China in the Caribbean and giving all sorts of misinformation about why China is in the Caribbean, we must stand in this. We must not get involved into geopolitics. I'm not asking anybody to get involved in geopolitics, but when somebody is a friend, that person must be a friend, and we must stand in defense and in solidarity with that friend at all times. And this is why, no matter what the consequences are, I stand on principle. I stand for something. And we will continue to condemn what these countries are seeking to impute and to seek to want to give the impression that China is in the Caribbean with ulterior motives. The Chinese government hasn't asked us for half of Dominica. They don't place us in situations that will jeopardize ourselves. All they have been here to us is to hold our hands and say, we are your friends in good times and, more importantly, in bad times. And they have proven that in the 15 years we've had relationships. My only regret where the relationship with Dominica and China is concerned is that we did not establish relations with China in 1978 when we became an independent country. that it took us 24 years to recognize an error which we have made. But where there is no vision, of people perish. And thank God this government has a vision, it has an understanding and appreciation for diplomacy, for international relations and geopolitics, and our respect for the rule of law and our respect for international law. So I cannot wait to, on behalf of the people of Dominica, receive the keys for this facility at the end of May, and to open the doors of this facility to our Dominican people. We are coming of age as a nation, and we're coming of age as a nation with the help of friends like China. And this is why I felt it necessary as the leader of the country to attach the name China to this hospital. Because I want not only current generations, but succeeding generations to appreciate the contribution of China to Dominica. When you admire somebody in the world, most of us, we name our children after that person. Well, Unfortunately, Dominica doesn't have a child, so we can name after China, but we have a facility which all of us will use at some point, and to ascribe China and to show the bonds of friendship which exist between Dominica and China. I call it the China-Dominica Friendship Hospital. What a wonderful name for us to celebrate now and succeeding generations. And then their countries, we have had a relationship for 40 years, and we cannot point to one thing they've done for us, but they want to lecture us on all kinds of things. And then the Dominicans who are engaging in that kind of lecture and supporting these people in their foolishness. China is a friend of Dominica, and we will continue to stand in defense and in solidarity of the One China principle. And Dominica will play its part in the international arena to facilitate the peaceful reunification of the whole of China. So Ambassador, please convey to the great leaders of China and to the people of China our profound gratitude for this gift and many other gifts that the government have bestowed upon the people of Dominica. But for us, health has always been a major pillar of this Labour Party administration, health and education. And when you speak about healthcare in Dominica, when you speak of education, you cannot not include the Dominica Labour Party in these things, because our founding principle as a party, and it's the only party that has any principles really that it stands for, and a philosophy, because we come from the labor movement. We come from an understanding of the proletariats, the working people, and seeking to elevate the working people to higher levels, and that's what we have done. Putting shoes on the barefoot man, educating the poor children, providing housing for those who are unable to build a home for themselves, and let us have a sense of pride and dignity. That's what we stand for as a party. And this is why it was this party, again, to have recognized the One China principle. And that's where we are today. So Ambassador, I'm very, very, very grateful to you and to your government and people. And China will always have a place in the hearts of Dominicans. But for me, as the leader of this country, and the one who has been interacting with China for the last 15 years, if I were to write a book, I suspect the entire book would be about China and Dominica, because I have been at the forefront of it, and I know I have always been able to rely on the great people of the great nation, the People's Republic of China. So again, thank you very much, and we look forward to the end of May, where we can receive this facility. But more fundamentally, we look forward to 40 days from the end of May, the Dominicans can now breathe a sigh of relief and say, thank God for the Dominica Labour Party. It's the only party who could really deliver this people of Dominica. And I'm happy to be part of this history making on behalf of the people of Dominica. Thank you very much. Thank you.